What's up everyone? Welcome to today's video. As you could tell by the title, I'm going to be talking about stride length versus stride frequency. Not only do I want to talk about which one is more important for you to focus on, but also want to talk about stride length and stride frequency separately and what you can do to improve both your stride length and your stride frequency. So before I get right into it, disclaimer. I know that this is a big debate in the track and field and strength and conditioning community. I'm not here to argue which is better, stride length or stride frequency. It's kind of one of those things that neither is going to be better than the other. It's more of a matter of what is more optimal for you to train right now. And there have been world champions with all different types of stride lengths and stride frequencies. So that's really kind of a red flag to know that if you see somebody that's kind of yelling in one direction, which is better, stride length or stride frequency, odds are they probably don't know what they're talking about in the first place. My goal by the end of this video is to teach you about both, tell you which, in my opinion, is probably more beneficial for you to train and I think is probably most optimal. Also to give you some general direction to go in terms of learning more about stride length and stride frequency, as well as examples of things you can implement in your training. But last thing, before I get into this video, if you like content like this, be sure to give this video a like, as well as check out the other videos on my channel in this speed series. All right, so for beginners and those of you who are just learning about this, stride length is how long you can stride, and stride frequency is how fast or how quickly you can stride or turn over. So first, I want to talk about stride frequency. I'm sure off the top of your head, you could think of athletes who it looks like they're moving their feet really, really fast. This is a good example of stride frequency. Stride frequency gets a bad rap, in my opinion, because it's said to be more of a genetic thing and more of a thing that's of training your central nervous system. But in my opinion, stride frequency, there are ways to train stride frequency, and I'm not talking about the stupid agility ladder, like I see a lot of people doing that, but that's not really gonna help as much as you would think. In my opinion, you could effectively improve stride frequency by improving your technique, specifically by training your timing and rhythm of your foot strike, as well as doing plyos and frequency drills to excite your central nervous system. So for those of you looking to go in the direction of training stride frequency, I recommend you start by training some plyometric exercises. There's a million different plyos that strength and conditioning and track and field coaches have prescribed all across the internet, so you could look up maybe your favorite ones or your favorite coaches and check those out. Also, I recommend checking out triphasic training. Triphasic training teaches your muscles how to relax and contract and relax very rapidly. So this is something that is going to be helpful when you're utilizing the stretch shortening cycle when you run. So I recommend that you check that out, as well as the French contrast method. So now I want to get into the one out of the two that I believe that you should primarily focus on, which is stride length. Now, before you turn this off and say, I'm just going to start taking really big strides when I run, I'm going to tell you the best way to do it, and that's not how. First off, I want to talk to you about why stride length is the more optimal of the two, and the one I think you, the viewer, should probably start out by trying to improve. Now, after looking at the literature as well as the interviews and articles written by strength and conditioning and track and field coaches, the overwhelming majority erred on the side of stride length as what they recommend their athletes to improve, and have seen the best results improving from stride length. And there's a variety of reasons why. Being that stride frequency is more easily trained in younger athletes who have yet to hit puberty. Now, this is something that legendary coach Anatoly Bondarchuk, and I really hope I'm saying his name right because he is legendary, has stated that younger athletes respond better to this type of speed training because their central nervous systems and muscle fibers are more influenced by training in this part of their lifetime. In my opinion, this made a lot of sense to me, specifically because growing up in elementary school, I had a lot of examples of this, because the faster athletes, drawing back on my memory in elementary school, were usually the athletes that played soccer or football, and typically those were the sports I remember seeing kids do little practices of drills like at recess and stuff in my elementary school, as well as doing a lot of sprinting in that sport as well.
Get through it!
So I could totally believe that stride frequency is more trained on younger athletes than it is when you're in your later years after you hit puberty. So let's give a point to stride length in this case, because if you're a high school or a college athlete, which in my opinion you probably are if you're watching this video, then it's going to be harder for you to train stride frequency because you're past the age where it's most optimal to train stride frequency. Secondly, there are many instances of the fastest athlete taking the least amount of steps in the race. Now, at the 2009 World Championships in Berlin, we all know Usain Bolt set the record for the 100-meter dash, running a 9.58, and he took 41 steps to complete that race. Coincidentally, in that race, Tyson Gay, the second place finisher, set the American record for the 100. He only took 45.5 steps. So because of this difference in the number of steps, most track and field and strength and conditioning coaches say that Bolt and Tyson Gay had a very similar stride frequency. However, the fact that Bolt was 6 inches taller was the reason that he was able to finish the race in 4 steps less and 13/100ths of a second faster. And that was because he was able to utilize his height to his advantage and use his stride length because he has longer legs than Tyson Gay obviously does. This is to say that improving stride length is related to decreasing the number of steps you take during the race. Now, I'd like to add that the start of the race is something that a lot of strength and conditioning coaches and track and field coaches also place an emphasis on. And in my opinion, this makes a lot of sense when talking about stride length, because the start of the race is also the portion of the race where you take the most amount of steps as well as takes the most amount of time, because you're going from standing still, or in this case, a 4-point stance, to top speed. And we all know that the dig phase, or whatever you want to call it, the acceleration part of the race is between the first 20 and 60 meters. So the fact that you're not hitting your top speed, you're not hitting your top end speed at this part of the race, you're not running as fast as you possibly can. So if you can improve your start, most likely you're going to decrease the number of steps that you can take during the race, as well as decrease the amount of time it takes you to run the race. This is why you might find a lot of coaches place an emphasis on improving your start technique and improving your acceleration part of the race, is because they want to minimize your amount of time in the slowest part of the race. So like I said before, don't think that you could just take really giant steps at the start of the race. Technique comes a lot into play here, specifically in the start of the race. So if you're gonna just try taking really long steps in the start to hopefully shave a second off your 40, that's not gonna work. Technique has a very large role. Be sure to practice stuff like falling starts and sled pushes to make sure that you're driving correctly and your feet are landing in the proper position for driving at the start of the 40-yard dash or whatever sprint race you're running. So that's great and all, but how do you actually improve your stride length? In my opinion, there are 2 important key factors that you should focus on, and the first being improving your mobility, flexibility, and stability in your entire body for the most part. You obviously want to key in on your hips, your knees, and your ankles, but you also should be mobile in your shoulders and your thoracic spine as well, because let's face it, your upper body is going to help generate force to move you forward. So that's something you need to focus on in your body's entirety, is mobility, flexibility, and stability. The reason why stability is grouped in with flexibility and mobility is because stability is important because you want strength through length. You want to improve your ability to be strong in new ranges of motion that you create, especially the ones that are going to be involved in sprinting. So stability is definitely one that I suggest that you don't skip out on. It's an important part of sprinting, and it's why you see a lot of athletes doing a lot of those crazy stability drills. I know especially the one of the most viral one recently is Alvin Kamara doing that thing on the exercise ball where he catches the little baton things. But I mean, whatever stability drills that you can find that you like and work for you. So exercises that involve you being in a similar position as what you would be in a sprint. So like a Bulgarian split squat. Now you could do this offloaded, and that's gonna help create stability. It's gonna put your body in an awkward position, so it has to find its midline and create core stability. So this is a good place to start. You could do this with I like doing this with a split squat or a lunge. Couple that with mobility drills to mobilize the joints and muscle tissues at position of restriction, and you have a very powerful combination. My favorites for my hips right now are the banded hip extension as well as the banded hip flossing. I like to do this before and after training, and I like to do the banded calf mobilization. I like to do that before training so I can know that my ankles are going to be in the right position. Also, I'm clear of restrictions while I'm running. My number two thing, or my second factor, would be to improve your strength relative to your body weight or your pound for pound strength. So improving your body composition, or otherwise improving your body fat percentage. Obviously you should know that having excess body fat isn't going to make you any faster. It's not going to make you any stronger. It's almost acting like a weighted vest that you just have normally strapped to your body, that's weighing you down, creating more of a mass for you to overcome and making it harder for you to move your body through space. Also, by having less body fat and body mass around your joints, it makes it easier for you to improve your mobility, which we just talked about is a key component to improving stride length. Also, if you look at people who you would probably classify as very, very fast, or some of the fastest athletes in the world, 9 times out of 10, they're completely shredded. So if you're having trouble improving your speed and you're above 12% body fat, I would consider starting with improving your body composition. So when you improve your body composition and improve your strength relative to your body weight, it makes it easier for your body to create force to propel your body forward and move your body throughout space. So this is where you want to track and train the main movements: squat, bench press, deadlift, Olympic lifting variations, medicine ball throws, jumps. Odds are, if you're getting better at all these movements relative to your body weight, odds are you're going to be able to be creating a sufficient amount of force for propelling your body forward throughout space and improving your stride length. So that's all I have for today. I hope I was able to teach you a little bit about stride length and stride frequency, and about which one is more important for you to train in your training journey. If you like this video, go down below, give it a like, and be sure to subscribe to my channel if you like videos like this and how to improve your speed. I'm coming out with a whole speed series with videos that are very similar to this. So thanks again for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.